Mid-argument, you catch yourself watching yourself argue. Your voice is rising, your chest is tightening, but somewhere behind all of it, something stays perfectly still, observing. For a split second you wonder, who's the one watching? That question is more important than anything you were arguing about. Most people spend their entire lives convinced they are their thoughts, their emotions, their reactions, their endless mental noise. When the inner voice whispers, "You're not good enough," they assume that voice is them. When anxiety floods the body, they think they are the anxiety. When anger takes over, they disappear into it completely. But here's what nobody tells you. Everything you've ever identified as you, every thought, every emotion, every reaction, might actually be something you're experiencing, not something you are. This distinction is the greatest secret in the Bhagavad Gita, and modern science is only now beginning to understand what it means. In 1995, philosopher David Chalmers introduced what researchers now call the hard problem of consciousness. The question is deceptively simple. Why does it feel like something to be you? Your brain processes information constantly, 11 million bits per second. But information processing alone doesn't explain why there's someone inside experiencing all of it. A computer processes information too, but nobody's home. There's no inner witness. Neuroscientists have mapped the brain with extraordinary precision. They know which regions activate during fear, during love, during memory formation and decision-making. But they still cannot explain who is experiencing these activations. The observer remains a mystery. Modern psychology has a name for this: the observing self. It's the part of you that can watch a thought arise without being controlled by it. Cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most evidence-based approaches in mental health, is built entirely on this premise. You can notice a thought, label it, and choose not to obey it, because you are not your thoughts. You're the awareness behind them. Thousands of years before MRI machines and psychology research, this was already understood. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verse 2, Krishna says, "Know that I am the knower in all bodies." Understanding of the body and the knower of the body, this is true knowledge. Your body feels, your mind thinks, but something else, something deeper, knows. What modern psychology calls the observing self, Krishna called the knower of the field. What neuroscientists still struggle to explain, consciousness itself, Krishna described with simple clarity. There is a witness within you, and that witness is separate from everything it witnesses. Your body is the field. Your thoughts, sensations, emotions, all of it happens in the field. But you are not the field. You are the one aware of it. This isn't abstract philosophy. This is your direct experience, right now. As you hear these words, notice, thoughts are arising, and there's something aware that thoughts are arising. Those are two completely different phenomena. When anxiety hits, anxiety arises in awareness. You, the real you, observe it. When anger flares, anger passes through you, but the observer stays unchanged. When the mind spirals at 3 a.m., something watches the spiral happen. That something never panics, never fears, never gets lost, because it isn't made of the same substance as panic or fear. The world says, trust your feelings. They tell you who you are. Science says, feelings are neurochemical events, temporary, not truth. Krishna says, you are not the feeling. You are the one who feels. The world says, your thoughts define your identity. Neuroscience says, thoughts are mental activity, not self. Krishna says, the thinker is not the thought. You've spent your whole life identifying with everything passing through you. The secret is realizing you are not any of it. Here's how this actually shows up. You get passed over for the promotion. The thought arrives instantly, I'm not good enough. But something in you notices the thought and knows it isn't the complete picture. That noticing? That's the knower. Your partner says something careless. Hurt floods in. But before you react, there's a gap. A tiny pause where you see the hurt rising without becoming it. That gap, that's where the real you lives. The part that can choose instead of just react. The mental spiral begins. Criticism, shame, regret, looping endlessly. But underneath all of it, something remains untouched. Stillness in the center of the storm. I've caught this in myself. That moment of chaos, and then suddenly, Awareness that I'm watching the chaos. I'm not the storm. I'm the sky it passes through. Not unaffected, but not destroyed. Now here's the resistance that comes up. This sounds like emotional detachment, like I'm supposed to stop feeling. No, you feel everything, fully, but you stop being imprisoned by it. The knower doesn't suppress emotions, it holds space for them without drowning. This isn't coldness, it's freedom. And the science confirms this. Mindfulness practices physically strengthen your prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for observing, regulating, and choosing responses. You're not escaping your feelings, you're expanding your capacity to be with them. So how do you actually live this? First, practice the pause. When strong emotion hits, take one conscious breath and ask, who is feeling this? That single question creates space between you and the reaction. Second, label without judgment. When thoughts arise, mentally note thinking, or worrying, or remembering. This activates metacognition, your brain's ability to observe its own processes. Third, 5 minutes of pure noticing. Daily. Just observing sounds, breath, sensations. Not fixing anything, just watching. You're training the knower to step forward. The secret was never hidden from you. It was hidden in you, waiting for you to look. You were never your darkest thought, never your worst fear, never the voice that says you're not enough. You are the one who hears all of it and remains. Subscribe first, then send this to someone who's still stuck in their own noise.